Welcome to your students. Today's lecture will be on ethnography and ethnographic research designs. I'm Dr. Ayaz Muhammad Khan and thank you for joining me for this particular lecture. Dear scholar, ethnography is a qualitative research technique that studies the culture of a distinct group within a society. When we say studies the culture, it means studying the norms, values, beliefs, behaviors, language, and practices. We can say that it is an analysis of the shared pattern of behavior, beliefs, and languages among study participants. We try to study an entire cultural group, and the most important thing in such type of research is that researcher himself or herself act as an instrument, and being the chief instrument, he or she is supposed to immerse into the phenomena which he or she is going to study. Dear students, when we look at the etymology of ethnography, we see it is made up of two words. Ethno means people or folk, and graphy means describing something. So we can say that ethnography means describing and understanding another way of life from the native point of view. As I have already told you that it studies the culture of a distinct group within a society. That distinct group of people have usually been living together over an extended period of time and thus have similar norms, values, behaviors, and languages. So we can say that ethnography literally means a portrait of a people. It is written description of a particular culture, the customs, beliefs, and behavior based on information collected through fieldwork. Ethnography means trying to understand behavior and culture by going out and talking to people wherever they are. And the chief instrument, keep it in your mind, my dear students, the researcher himself or herself is. Ethnographical research, dear student, uh, is most often used in social sciences such as anthropology, sociology, education, media studies, and even in business studies. It is very much in vogue nowadays. Rather than relying on statistical data in quantitative research, ethnography attempts to describe an experience in the social world and the personal lives of people. It has become increasingly popular in educational research over the past few years and in business as well. Dear students, this ethnographic research is considered as the most complex of all research methods. As a matter of fact, you got to keep your own thoughts away and get yourself immersed into the phenomena to come out of it with what the native people think. So, a variety of approaches are used in an attempt to obtain a holistic picture as possible of a particular society, group, or setting. The emphasis is on documenting the everyday experience of individuals by observing and interviewing them and relevant others many techniques. The key tool are in-depth interviews, continuous, ongoing participants observation of a situation, etc. So, when we don't need quantitative empirical result, we go there for qualitative one, and we use ethnography when we want to discover what people do and why they do it from their own perspective. So, what sort of topics that lend themselves well to ethnographic research? Topics that involve the study of the roles that educators play and behaviors associated with those roles. Topics that involve the study of the activities and behavior of the groups as a unit in management and in many other settings. Topics involving the study of formal organizations in their totality. Even when we want to market something in a culture which is different from our own culture, we love to study their culture so that we can develop our marketing strategy in the context of that particular culture. We can trace the history of ethnography somewhere in 1800, where it was developed as a method for studying native culture. And so far as marketing research is concerned, it was introduced in late 80s. Ethnography was developed by Gerhard Friedrich Muller, who was a professor of history and geography, and he was working somewhere in 1743 to 44, recording some sort of expedition. The term was introduced into academia by August Schulze and Christopher Gatter in an attempt to understand the world history. Look at the brief history of ethnography. We see ethnography has been shaped by cultural anthropology with an emphasis on writing about culture. In 1928, Mead's study of childbearing, adolescence, and influence of culture on personality in Samoa. Similarly, from 1920 to 1950, single case studies emphasized at University of Chicago. If we discuss about the purpose of ethnography, or rather ethnographers' purpose, we see that they go for shared patterns and individuals who intend on regular basis and over a period of time they wish to study behaviors, beliefs, and languages, and ultimately builds theories of cultures or explanation of how people think, believe, and behave that are situated in local time and space. Indigenous cultures are present everywhere. You can find them in Africa, in Asia, in classroom setting, in a cultural setting, etc. Here are some of the characteristics of ethnographic research. It is guided by journal research questions and not by hypothesis. As you know, this is qualitative research. So, in qualitative research, we follow certain research questions. We do not hypothesize it. Then, conducted in natural setting and documents native perspective. They are not conducted in artificial, rather we got to go to natural setting and document the native perspective. It goes for cultural themes and cultural sharing groups. Provide holistic and systematic overview of the context. Then get through the shared patterns of behavior, beliefs, and languages. Fieldwork, I mean, amic, attic, and negotiation. What do we mean by amic? Amics are actually amic that are information provided by participants in the study. Attic data are information that represent researchers' interpretations of the participants' viewpoint. Similarly, we go for description of themes and interpretation. Context or setting focuses on meanings of words rather than number. It is qualitative, as you already know. And researcher reflexivity. This researcher's reflexivity is very important character. According to John Creswell, reflexivity in ethnography refers to researchers being aware and openly discussing his or her role in the study in a way that honors and respects the site and the people. So, what sort of data would you be collecting for your ethnographic studies? Verbal description of the people, interactions, settings, objects, and phenomena within the context being studies. The role of researcher is very, very important here. I mean, what will be your data sources? Of course, the people, the settings, and the relevant objects being observed, all those things would be an important data source for you in that study. So how would you collect the data? There are actually two main methods for collecting data through ethnographic research. The very first one is interviewing. This one is the most important tool. But here you got to select a person purposively. I mean, if that person is not that much vocal and he or she is not himself or herself that much immersed within the natural setting where they live in a particular culture, you won't be able to get maximum out of it. But you know, human beings are deceptive in nature, so participant observation is another key. Is very crucial to effective field work, which requires an immersion in the culture. Field notes are used to check the accuracy of an ethnographic observation. Other forms of writing used as field jottings, field diaries, and field logs, they may be important as well. The most important thing, the data analysis. You have got triangulation, checking the validity by comparing sources of information. You have got all the interviews, you have got all the observations, you have written all the diaries and field notes, so you can triangulate whether the information got from interview correspond to the information got from observation or diaries. And you got to develop the patterns, checking reliability by revealing consistencies and describing matches. Key events, I mean, you got to use the lens through which to view a particular culture. Then visual representation, maps, charts, sociograms would be very important for you for the purpose of data analysis. Statistics, you can use some of the non-parametric techniques, but as a matter of fact, as this is a qualitative technique, so all you would have would be coding, categorization, themes, and writing on those particular themes. So what sort of purpose should be adopted? I mean, it should be based on following steps. First of all, a question or concern is identified for study. Then a group to study is identified as well. I mean, the group which is usually called as participants who will be in a natural setting. It should be typically small and purposively selected as well, because if people are not selected uh, purposively, maybe people won't be able to tell you in depth, or if the people have not got that much exposure in itself of their own environment, so they won't be able to tell you these things rightly. Permission to study the group is obtained, it is very compulsory. The researcher observes the group. Privileged observer, just observer, and participant observer function as a part of that group. We have already discussed it as an amic or etic. During the process, the researcher analyzes the notes, identifies themes, looks for answers to research questions, and makes logical inferences. The final step is to write the researcher's paper describing the process, observation, findings, and conclusion. Often rich descriptions are provided so the readers can make their own interpretations. So we got to see what should be the criteria for judging ethnographic research. These are the four important points. The very first one is the credibility. Credibility would be the group being observed say the findings were credible. Are the findings logical and reasonable? Transferability. Would a reader be willing to transfer their results to another group or setting? Dependability. The researchers accurately describes the context, setting, and changes that may have occurred during the study. And conformability. If there were additional observers, would they describe the situation the same and arrive at the same conclusion? Though it looks difficult, but the more things are closer with others, the more credible your research is. So, when should ethnographic research be conducted? The very first one is to define a problem when the problem is not clear and you want to go vertically and had and try to have an in-depth view of that phenomena. The second one, to define a problem that is complex and embedded in multiple systems or sectors. To identify participants when the participant sectors or stakeholders are not yet known or identified. To claim the range of settings where the problem or situation occurs at times when the settings are not fully identified, known, or understood. Last but not the least, to explore the factors associated with the problem in order to understand it. Dear students, there are more than 10 types of ethnography research. The first one is realist ethnography, an objective, scientifically written ethnography. It actually narrates study from in-person reporting what is observed. Data collected should never be overshadowed by biases, political goals, or judgment. The second one is the case study ethnography. Actually, it is the study of a program, event, or an activity of an individual. It is in-depth exploration of a case. Extensive data collection is done in it. Then comes critical ethnography. It advocates to emancipate those who are being marginalized in a society. They study inequalities, repressions, dominance, and empowerment. Okay, dear students, let's discuss between conventional ethnography and focused ethnography. Actually, conventional ethnography is a long-term field visits, whereas when you go for a short-term field visit, it is focused ethnography. Uh, Conventional one is experientially intensive, time extensive writing. You got to do in-depth writing and solitary data collection and analysis. But whereas when you look at it, the data analysis is though intense, but time intensity. In conventional, you have extensive time, but here you don't have that much time. You go for recording, and you people can read out rest of the things from the slide. So, how to do ethnography research? I would request you that you got to listen to that YouTube video where this procedure is given, and I'm pretty sure that after you get over it, you would have quite a good clearance about ethnography research. But if you have any question, I would let you know that you would be in a position to ask as many questions as you want. So, when should we do ethnography, or what are the steps that we have to follow? Though we have gone through it, but this is given in a very good schematic form. Ethnographic research is especially valuable when a researcher hopes to learn about the complexities and idiosyncrasies of an environment from first-hand experience. So he has to go there and get himself immersed there. Ethnography may be used to research organization, communities, cultures, and other environments. Here are uh, 8 steps of research. The very first one is identify research question. We have already gone through it. Step 2, determine locations for research. You got to go there from where you wish to get an in-depth data. Step number 3 is formulate presentation method. How would you go, how would you do, and how would you request them to give you the data. Step number 4, acquire permission and access. You know, nowadays ethical issues count a lot. Step number 5, observe and participate. So you here the researcher is the main instrument. Keep it in your mind time and again. I'm telling you that it is you who got to observe. It is you who will conduct interviews. So while conducting interviews, you should be well acquainted with the art of conducting interviews. And then even at step 7, when collecting archival data, and on the eighth step, you should know how to do data analysis of interviews and observations. You know all that you do in terms of coding and developing themes and ultimately analyzing your data. Dear business and marketing student, here is an example of ethnography research. I would request you to watch that YouTube video. Mapping people and ethnographic case study of IKEA shoppers. You would get through it and then let me know what you have learned out of it. Oops, advantages. There are many advantages. The key strength is that it provides the researcher with a much more comprehensive perspective than other forms of research. It is also appropriate to behaviors that are best understood by observing them within their natural environment or natural setting. The design for human needs reflects users' own issues and everyday problems. Everything has got certain advantages and disadvantages. So is this ethnographic research. It is highly dependent on the researcher's observation and interpretations. If being instrument, you are not good at observation or interpretations, study won't be good at all. A lot of time is required to understand a culture, so you need a lot of time. There is no way to check the validity of the researcher's conclusion since numerical data is rarely provided. Observer's bias is almost impossible to eliminate and generalization are almost non-existent since only a single situation is observed, leaving ambiguity in the study. But this can be overcome if you do a good study. Being researcher, you you get into the phenomena very deep. Your observation eye is very good and the way you conduct interviews very good, so surely you would be in a position to diminish all the disadvantages. Okay, let's see. Ethnography you have been through, but in a couple of year, the new term with the advent of internet and then social media, a new term called as netnography has emerged, and we'll get over it as well because this is where research can be done a lot. Though I have given you comparison of both, but I wouldn't read out ethnography. Most of the things I would read for you would be netnography. So a type of online or internet ethnography. Netnography provides guidelines for the adaptation of a participant's observation procedure to the contingencies of online community and culture that manifest through computer mediated communication. You know, dear, this is the era of social media, and in social media there are different groups, people of the same interest. They try to flock in their own groups, so the group norms, group values and group culture emerges. So you are in a position to study that one. So netnography uses these conversation as data. So when in social media in different groups they have conversation, we in ethnography use these conversation as data. It is an interpretive research method that adapts the tradition in-person participants observation techniques of anthropology to the study of interaction and experience manifested through digital communication. Ethnography, like ethnography, is a method of qualitative research founded by Robert Kozinets, and he has found a new area of application with Web 2.0, auto-netnography, symbolic netnography, digital netnography, and humanistic netnography. Like ethnography, the scope of ethnography is pretty much wide. When you add internet with ethnography, netnography is doing ethnographic study online from the comfort of your office. So you don't need to go like an ethnography which is done in natural setting. It is done when you are at home, but when you go into a social media group and read out their conversation. For advertisers, ethnography provides culturally grounded understanding of language, meaning, rituals, practices, what goes on. People usually use slang language in those communication which are online in the group. So when you get through this, you actually explore what sort of languages goes on in a particular environment. What could be the sources of netnography? I mean, corporate website advertisements, news sites, that all com sort of things, e-commerce sites, Amazon, rating and referral sites, eopinion.com or bizred.com, Zagat ETS, community sites, then consumers' web pages and weblogs, archives without researchers' involvement, elicited, so co-created by researcher and the members. So, how do you do that ethnography? I mean, there are certain steps you got to follow. We have already gone through the steps of ethnography, though I have given it in the schematic form. But when you look at ethnography and its steps given by Cosinets in 2010, the very first step is definition of research questions, social media sites or topics to investigate. The second would be community identification and selection. Where do our consumer or business hang out online? Third step would be community participation, observation, engagements, and immersions and data collection. Ensure ethical procedures that we got to follow in all sorts of research, whether quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method. The fourth step is data analysis and literature, which is very data analysis, which is very iterative interpretation of the finding. I mean, it's really hard. And last but not the least, write, present, and report research findings. So data analysis in ethnography is very much like ethnography. In ethnography and content analysis differed in the adoption of computational method for collecting semi-automated data, analyzing data, and recognizing words and visualizing data. However, some scholars dispute ethnography's distance from content analysis, preferring to assert that it is also a content analytical technique. Constructing classification system, coding, synthesis, or contextualization, I would prefer that, as most of the things are uh, conversation between the people. So we can also go for discourse analysis here as well. So let's see what is the plus point of ethnography. Individuals may be more open online than in real life. In real life it is hard. You got to give them long time to get acquaintance with them. Internet provides access to a broader cohort of the respondent, great continuity in researcher, cheaper and faster. Ethnography is as compared to ethnography, where you have to invest a lot of money for it, and then plentiful and easy to obtain data. I mean, once you enter into a group in social media, you the time of immersion is comparatively short than in journal ethnography. And when once you are in, follow the ethical consideration, you will get lot of data. But besides having plus points, there are weak points as well. I mean, difficult to extrapolate results to the general population. That is the weakness of all qualitative researches. I mean, they are context bound, so that is why their results cannot be generalized to others, or it is hard to find the similar groups where you can generalize those results. Uh, in ethnography, the focus is more on textual data. You don't interview people. Whatever they have written, you focus on them. underdeveloped toolkits for data gathering and analysis. We are yet in the stage of infancy in ethnography. So we don't think that we have that much developed tools. Instability of the user base and ethical issues for using information. They are all the weak. Okay, students, I have two tasks for you. The very first task is that you will get over or rather watch this YouTube video of 3 minutes, and then you would have to do as demanded by this video. And similarly, in task 2, you would have to watch it and then do the needful as demanded on the slide. In the last part, we have given you certain books. So, task 2, you got to understand a little bit background. Assume that there is an online community of customers based on where you sit, you work for. I mean, one is bank, second one is CPG, third is car manufacturer, and fourth one is retailer. So, what is your task? You got to discuss and present to the class what you could learn about that community and how you could use it for your company's benefit, branding, advertising, product and development, etc. So last but not the least, better to get over some of the books. The more you read the books, the more clarity you would get. I mean, ethnography of educational research, ethnography of education, then ethnography simple, ethnographic state. And if you wish to get through initial reading, you can also get over the book written by John Creswell, where he has given all the qualitative methodologies. So thank you very much for listening me so patiently, my dear students. I'm hopeful that you would learn a lot, and keep it in your mind, the more you read, the more you get. Thank you very much.